Hey guys, I'm audible and confirm whether my screen is visible.
Yeah, Dinesh.
Okay, guys. So guys, for this session, I'm going to use Ubuntu server, guys, not CentOS. CentOS something there is a problem. I'm not able to connect, and I hope you are also not able to connect. So let me use one Linux flavor, which is Ubuntu server. Fine. So I will make it as Ubuntu server. Right. So come below, and I will browse some AMI, which is related to Ubuntu. We can go for free, guys. So let me type the Ubuntu, and I have a different Ubuntu server. I will select one of them. So you can go for any Ubuntu server. That's not a problem. So which is SSD volume type. Yeah, let me select this one. Fine. So which is the Ubuntu server, and instance type. Let me go with T2 medium, T2 medium or T2 large. That's your wish. I will go with the key pair, and I have already a key pair, so I will use the same key pair. And fine, that's it. So let me click on launch instance. I will connect to my EC2 from the management console. So let me refresh this. Okay. So we'll wait actually. So it will take some time. We'll wait. Yes, it's running now. And let me try to connect this Ubuntu server. So for that, I will open my terminal. And so I will go to the downloads. And then I will copy this chmod command. And then I will send this SSH space -i ubuntu.pem file, and I can give this ubuntu at the rate of the fully qualified public domain name. So when you press enter and it will ask yes or no, I will give yes. So thereby, yes, it will be connected to your Ubuntu server now. So it will be connected to your Ubuntu server. Any questions so far? Simple step, only you are selecting the Ubuntu AMI. Apart from this, everything is same. Is that okay, guys?
Yeah.
All right. So what is the first step I'm going to do? So the first step, I want to install a Docker, right? Because I'm talking about the Docker installation, right? So I have to install the Docker. So to install the Docker, first of all, let me check whether the Docker is already available in my Ubuntu machine or not. So in order to check this one, we can use the command called docker space -- version. It's a command to check is there Docker is available. When you press enter, I am seeing Docker which is not found. It means that Docker is not available. So let me log in as a sudo user. It means that root user. Now, once again, here also I can check it docker space -- version. Of course, Docker is not available in my machine. So I have to install the Docker. right? Before installing the Docker, let me update the package apt. Guys, when you go for Ubuntu server, you have to use the apt package. In CentOS Linux flavor, right? We use the M package, right? In the same way, so apt update is the command you have to use it. Apt update is the command you have to use it. So it will start update your package. When I say package, yes, it will update your Ubuntu server. So press enter. So it will start update your Ubuntu server. In CentOS, we use the M update, right? M update, M package manager we have used. In the same way, here we have a package called apt update. Now let me clear the screen. It got updated. Now I'm going to install Docker. How can I install the Docker? You have to use the apt package space install space docker.io docker.io, and I don't want the prompt yes or no, just I can give -y here. -y here. So apt install docker.io space -y. It is the command to install the Docker in your Ubuntu server, in your Ubuntu machine, right? So apt install. Now let me press enter. It will start installing the Docker on your Ubuntu virtual machine. So on top of the Ubuntu machine, I am installing the Docker engine. Okay, it's completed. Now let me clear the screen. I will check once again Docker space -- version. Now this time I got the Docker latest version, which is 20.10.21 version. I got it inside your Ubuntu machine. So remember, you have to use a command called apt install docker.io -y, right? This is the command. This is the command. You have to use it in order to install the Docker. apt install docker.io space -y is the command. You have to use it in order to install the Docker. Am I clear, guys? Any questions so far?
Clear.
So far what we have done. So far what we have done, guys, we just launched one EC2 machine with the help of your Ubuntu. And the second step I have done, there's only 1 minute. Okay, guys. So we have installed the Docker now. See, now I will go here. Guys, can you tell me where we will see the images and all for the Docker? What is the website? Sorry?
Docker.
Yes.
Docker Hub.
Yes. So Docker Hub. So we can go for hub.docker.com. This is where you can see all the Docker images. Suppose for an example, I'm searching one image. Say for an example, CentOS. When I search CentOS, I can see the CentOS, right? CentOS is the Docker official image. You can find it here. In real time, where the images will be stored. See, most of the time, we will get the base image from your dockerhub.com, and you can do the customization on top of the image, and you can share it via GitHub repo or LDAP. Somewhere you can store it. That's company to company will vary. Some company they will store it inside the Git lab also, right? That's fine. That's not a problem. But remember, you have to. So you will get a base image from the dockerhub.com, where you can do some modification based on your requirement, based on your project, and that image you can call it as custom image. That custom image you will share it. Maybe you will convert it into the Docker container, and then it will be shut. Okay, we'll see practically, right? So yeah, we have a CentOS image, right? It's the Docker official image. It got updated 16 months ago. So when I click on this, and this is deprecated, they are saying the official build of CentOS got deprecated, but no issues. We can see Docker pull CentOS is a command to pull the Docker image, right? So what I'm going to do, I will go to my terminal. I will go to the terminal. Now I'm going to pull this. I'm going to pull this CentOS machine or CentOS server or CentOS image from my remote to local to my Ubuntu server. I'm going to pull it. How can I pull? Very simple. They have given the command itself, right? Docker pull CentOS. So let me copy this command and paste it here. Docker pull CentOS is the command. It is to pull your image from the remote to your local Ubuntu machine. Guys, remember, if I type a command called Docker images, if the command is available, it will list out all the images are available on your Ubuntu server. When you press enter, can you see I don't see any images as of now. I don't have any images, right? It is not giving anything when you type Docker images. You have one more command also, guys. Docker, either you can use Docker images or Docker image space ls. Docker image space ls. This is also command, it will work. So either of them you can go for to list out all the images on your server. As of now, I don't have any images on my server. That's the reason it is not giving anything. But if you want to pull, so let me use this Docker pull command. Docker pull CentOS, right? Image name is CentOS. Now when you press enter, it will start pulling your, guys, in default, it will pull the latest version, guys. See, it is pulling the latest image, latest version. Now if you check it, can you see here? Now one image got downloaded from your CentOS machine. Sorry, from your Docker hub. So which is CentOS image, which is the latest version. We have some image ID. 20 months ago, it got created and size is 231 MB. Only very, very low, right? 231 MB because it is without kernel, with a base image, right? We got the base image, 231 MB file. We got it from the remote. But suppose if you need a particular version, right? Can you see a tag here? If you need a particular version, you can go for tag. Can you see a tag here? Using that, you can go for the particular version also. Suppose I want Docker pull CentOS. I need this seventh version I need. So what you guys can do? What you can do? You just put colon and put 7. Docker pull CentOS colon 7, you can give it. Thereby only this particular version you can get it. In default, if you write Docker pull CentOS, then you will see the latest version, right? But if you need the particular version, you can give this one. You can use this tag. If you need a CentOS 6, you can use this tag. If you need a CentOS 8.4, you can use this tag, right? So now press enter. Now it will pull the Docker image, the CentOS 7. So if you check Docker images, now can you see there are 2 images I have downloaded. One image is latest and another one is the tag called 7, right? Which is 231 MB and 204 MB. So now we have a 2 image, right, on top of my Docker. On top of my Docker, I have created 2 images. I have downloaded the 2 images from the centralized repository, which is called Docker Hub, to my local. So either you can use the Docker images command or Docker image ls command, you can go for. If both of them will work. Any questions so far?
No, Dinesh. No. Yeah,
Yes.
Dinesh.
Yeah, right. So now you know how to install the Docker, how to pull the image, how to pull the image from the remote to local. Any image you want, you can pull it, guys. Suppose I want this Ubuntu image. Is there any Ubuntu image available? Yeah, we have a Ubuntu, right? So suppose if you want this Ubuntu image, you can pull it. So let me copy this and I can paste it over. If you put like this, it will in default, it will get the latest. But if you need the particular tag, say rolling I need a mantic ID, then you can put the colon and you can write that particular tag. But let me go with the latest Ubuntu. So when you press enter, it will default tag is latest, it will getting download. Now if you want to check that one, type docker image space ls or docker images. If you put it, I can see all the images that you have downloaded or that you got it from your remote hub. That's called Docker hub. Fine. Now, I want to create the container. I have an image now. I got the image. Now I want to create a container. How to create the container on Ubuntu server? I want to create a container for the particular image, right? Running container, I want to create it. Running instances of an application which is called as a container. Guys, whatever the image that you have pulled, right? Whatever the image that you have pulled, that is only a read-only mode, right? It means that only we have a read-only access. Right? But if you want to write something, if you want to make it as a writing mode, then you first of all build a container. Without a container, how can I write it? Right? We cannot write anything. You have a read-only images. Now you want to write it. So if you want to write, you have to create the container. How can I create the container? That's the question. So if you want to create the container, there is a command called docker container, right? Run. So it means that it will start creating the container. Also, it will run the container. Both of them will take place in this particular operation. So docker container run. It means that it will create and run the container in the interactive mode. So I can write interactive terminal. When I say IT space -IT, interactive terminal, what it refers? Because after the container is created, I need a terminal, right? In order to interact with your Docker server, in order to interact with your Docker container, then you need a terminal on that particular place also. For that reason, we are using -IT, which is interactive terminal space the Docker image. Which Docker image you are going to use? There are 3 images I have created. For which image you are going to create the container? Say for an example, I am going to create the container for this Ubuntu image. I have a Ubuntu image. For this Ubuntu image, I am going to create the container. Guys, you can create many container on top of your image, right? Now I am going to create one container on top of my Ubuntu machine. So Docker container run space -IT interactive terminal -D means -Docker image. Which Docker image you want to create the container? I want to create the container for this Ubuntu image. Right? So when you press enter, yes, it created one container. So this will generate one container ID. This will create and run one container ID. If you want to check whether container is available or not, let me type a command called docker container space ls is the command. It will tell me whatever the container is running right now. You can see it here. See, there is a container called Ubuntu image. On top of that, you have created one container, and which is 20 seconds ago, it got up. Up means it's running now. It is not down. Up means it's running now. If you are not giving any name, it will take automatically some name. Tenter.kill by some name, it got created automatically. If you want to give it out, you can also give it, right? But you have created one container. How you have created the container? With help of this command. Docker container run space -IT space -D. Which Docker image you want to create the container? For the Ubuntu machine, I want to create the container. So if you want to list out whatever the container is running, Docker container ls is the command. Docker container ls is the command. We have one more command also, very simple. You can write docker ps command also. It also will tell you the running container list. So the list of running container, you can see it with help of docker ps command or docker container ls command. Either of them you can go for. Either you can go for docker ps command or docker container space ls command. Right? So in order to list out all the images, we have a 2 command, right? Docker images, docker image ls. In the same way, in order to list out the running container, we have a docker container ls or Docker PS command. Are you clear, guys?
Yeah.
Yes, Dinesh.
Suppose I don't want this particular name. I want to refer this Docker container with help of a different name. So let me stop this container. I'm going to stop this container, which is Ubuntu container. How to stop this container? So to stop this container, we can use the Docker stop the container ID. The container ID you have to use it. What is the container ID? This is the container ID, right? Let me copy this and paste it over and press enter. So it will stop the container, guys. So let's wait. Docker stop container ID. Yes. Now let me check the running container now. Docker PS command. When you press enter, see, I don't see, right, any container. I don't see any container. I don't see any running container. But if you want to see whether it's running or stopping, I need to see the container. How can I see it? So for that, you have to use a command called Docker PS space -a. A refers all. When you press enter, now see, we have one container 3 minutes ago we have created, but it is exited. Exited means stopped. We have stopped, right? So now I want to create one more container on top of this image. Let me create it. Docker container run space -interactive terminal. I want to give some name, right? -hyphen name. So I can give any name. Say this is the container name is C1. C1 is the container name. And which image you want to create the container? Say for Ubuntu image, I want to create the container. So you have to write the name here. -hyphen name. The container name is C1. So when you press enter, now if you check Docker PS command, PS space -a, it will give you one container got stopped, but one container is running now. But the name is C1 this time. It is not taking automatically. C1 is the container name. C1 is the container name. Guys, remember when you use the Docker PS command, it will give you only the running container. It will give you only running container. But if you write the PS space -a, it will give you whether it is running or stop. You can find all the container history here. List of container. List of container. But this one is list of running container. In the same way, either you can use Docker container ls. It will give you running container. It will give you a running container. But if you want to see all, you can write Docker container ls space -all. If you write like this, what happened? ls, 1 minute guys. Let me clear this. Docker container ls space -all. Why it is giving only the running containers? Docker container ls space -all. It's not working. ls space -a. Yes, I think -a, not -all. -a. So it will give you one container got exited, one container is running. Am I clear, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, Dinesh. Dinesh, but the tender kill BY is a mandatory thing.
Sorry, I'm not getting.
The tender kill BY for the
Yes. No. That name is automatically generated by your Docker engine.
okay.
But if you want to give a name to your container, you can use a tag called -name and you can give the tag name. Am I clear?
Okay, Dinesh.
Yeah. So we have stopped one container, right? Let me start it. Once again, I will start it. Let me clear this. And Docker PS space -a. And this is the container we have stopped. So I can use this name also, no issues. I can copy this, or you can use the container ID. Either of them, either you can go for name or container ID, right? So let me start it. Docker start is the command, and you can use the container ID or name. Say, suppose I'm giving tender underscore kill by. So when you press enter, see, now if you check, even PS command, it is enough, right? Because your container is running now. When you write the PS command, both of them, it's running now. To start the container, you can use the docker start command. To stop the container, you can use the docker stop command. Sometime, you know, your docker is not responding. Sometime, guys, you will face some issue. You will say once docker is running, which docker? Say for an example, this container is running, but you are trying to stop this container. You are trying to stop this container, docker stop C1. When you press enter, right, it is loading, but you are not seeing the result. There is some problem with respect to that particular container. It is not stopped. So how to handle this situation? How to handle? So your docker container is not stopping. You are trying to stop that particular container, but it is not stopping. So in that case, there is a command called docker kill command. Docker kill. Say I want to kill this a tender kill by. I want to kill this. Now if you press enter, it will kill you, right? So say suppose if I write docker ps space -a, now can you see here? It got stopped. It got stopped. Sometime you will face a problem when you even use the docker stop command, it is not stopping. In that case, in real time, what you guys can do? You can go for kill command. Using that, you can stop it. Using that, you can stop it. So you may think kill and stop both are same. No, there is a difference. Basically, we will use the stop command to stop the container, but in some cases, your docker won't respond due to maybe a memory problem or anything, maybe infrastructure issue. It is not stopping. In that case, how to handle? You guys can use the docker kill space, the container ID or container name. Using that, you can stop the container. Are you getting my point, guys?
Yes, yes.
Suppose if you write docker ps space -a, you have one container is running, one container got stopped, right? So now I want to restart this particular container. I want to restart. You will restart, right? Your machine. In the same way, I want to restart this Ubuntu machine. How to restart? Kill command, stop, or remove the container. No, it will not remove, Aman. It is not removing because can you see here? It is excited, right? So if you want to start it, you can start it. Say docker start the container ID or container name. I can give it. So when you press enter, now if I type docker ps command, can you see still it is available, right? It is not removed. It is not removed completely. It got stopped. Both are same. But docker stop command you will go for. But forcefully, in some cases, I'm not able to stop the container. Then I don't have any option. Yeah, you can use it. Kill command. That will
But
work.
still it will be active.
Still it not active. Your container stopped. It is inactive, right?
But it will be available. It will be available.
It will be available. It will be available. That's the reason I can able to start it again. Can you see here? I started, right? If it is not available, I cannot start it, right? I have to create the container. It is available. Right. Now I want to restart my container. Say for an example, this particular container, say C1 is the container, right? I will stop it that one. Docker stop C1. Already it is stopped, right? Now if I want to restart this particular container, how can I restart? That's the question. How to restart? So to restart, again, Docker container provides Docker restart is the command. You can use it C1. When you press enter, it will restart the container. If I check docker ps space -a, it will be restarted again. 6 seconds ago, again it got restarted.
Dinesh, can we use after kill? We can use the same restart, or
Yeah, you
do
can
we
use
have
it.
to follow?
Yeah, you can use it. You can use it.
No need to start, right? Automatically, if we say restart, it will do it again, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can start it. But what I'm saying, when you try to stop one container, but if it is not happening, how to handle that particular problem? You can use the kill command. Forcefully, you are stopping the container because stop command is not working due to some problem. Now, even see here, this particular machine already is up, but I want to restart. Can I able to restart? Yeah, I can restart, right? Why we are restarting? Our laptop also we have, right? Sometimes we will face some problem. We used to restart, right? That particular laptop. So Docker restart C1. In the same way, you are restarting your container. Am I clear, guys, so far?
Yes. Yes. For
Everyone-
deleting also.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I'm going to take down. Yeah. Suppose I want to remove the container. That's the question. How to remove the container? So to remove the container, we can use Docker rm command. Rm means remove. Which container you want to remove? Either you can use the name or you can use the container ID. Say suppose I want to remove this container. I have a container ID, right? I want to remove this container. So Docker rm is the command. You can use it. But when you press enter, right, you will see an error. Why? Because you cannot remove a running container. That container is already running. It is up. We cannot remove the running container. That's the reason we are seeing an error. So before removing the container, you have to stop the container and then you can try. So you can stop it with the help of Docker stop command. That particular container, which is this one. When you press enter, so it will stop the container first. It will stop the container first. Once your container is stopped, then you can use the Docker rm command. Now let's try. Yes. Now if we check Docker ps space -a, can you see here? Only one image is available. Oh, sorry, only one container is available. One container is completely removed with the help of a rm command. So Docker rm command, it is to remove your container. Before that, you have to stop the container and then you can use the rm command. Are you clear, guys?
Okay.
Now, suppose if you write Docker ps, this container is running, right? I want to remove this running container. What should I do, guys? How can I remove the running container? How to remove the running container?
First, we have to stop and then.
Yeah, first we have to stop it and then we can use the rm command. But a running container also we can able to remove directly without stopping. So for that, you can use a Docker rm. Forcefully, you can use -f and then you can write the C1 container name or container ID you can pass it. So this will remove the running container when you use -f force. Now it got removed. If you check Docker ps space -a, I don't have any container on top of my image. All the container I have removed. So this is how you can remove the running container. So in interview, people might ask you how to remove the container. Then your answer should be, you can use the Docker rm, the container ID or container name. But if your container is running, I want to remove the running container like that, they are asking the question. Then you can tell them Docker rm space -f, that container ID, you can give it, thereby forcefully we are trying to remove the running container without using the stop command. Are you clear so far?
Yeah, Dinesh.
Any questions so far, guys? Everyone clear
No.
so far? Okay, so you know how to create the image, how to list out the image, how to create the container and run the container, how to start it, how to stop it, how to restart, how to remove the container, all those basic stuff you know. Now suppose, let me create one container. How to create the container, can you quickly tell me? How to create the container? Create and run the container. Docker.
Docker space container
Docker container.
run
Run super.
space hyphen interactive
IT.
terminal
Interactive
space
terminal. Yes. Hyphen.
hyphen
Name we can give it if you want. Say suppose C1 is the name, and we can give the Docker image. So which Docker image I want, I can give it. Say for an example, I want to go for Ubuntu. Then you can give Ubuntu or CentOS, whatever the image that you want, you can use it. So press enter, it will create one container ID. So if you want to check this, you can use the Docker PS command. It will give you the running container history. Running container, if you want to list it, you can use the Docker PS command. Fine. Now, suppose I want to go inside this particular container. How to go inside this particular? As of now, I'm doing everything on my Ubuntu server, not container, right? Everything I'm doing on my Ubuntu machine, Ubuntu server. I want to go inside this particular container. I want to go inside this particular container. How? So if you want to go inside this container, you can use the Docker space EXEC, the command, space -IT, interactive terminal. I want to go inside which container? I want to go inside this C1 container space bash. You have to use this particular command in order to go inside this particular container. Docker exec space -IT space the container name, and then you can use the bash. So press enter. See, did you remember in Jenkins itself I told you, whenever you create any user, whenever you install any software, if you want to log in, then you have to use the bash. You have to enable the bash. In the same way, if we are working with a Linux machine, which is the flavor called Ubuntu machine, on top of that, we have installed the Docker. Now I want to go inside the Docker. For that reason, I want to log into the Docker. I have to enable the bash. For that reason, I'm using the bash. Aman, are you clear? Thereby shell will be enabled. Without shell, we cannot log into that particular, we cannot perform any operation on the shell. So if you want to log in, first of all, you have to enable the shell. To enable the shell, we made the bash on my Ubuntu. Fine. Now, I have logged in as a Ubuntu. Right. So now if I type ls command, this many files are available inside your Ubuntu container, not Ubuntu server. In my Ubuntu container, or maybe you can consider X container that has this many files. Now suppose I'm going to create one, say inside this particular container, I'm going to create one, say file or maybe a directory. Say make dir, test is the directory name, right? Now if I type ls command, can you see test directory should catered inside this particular, yes, here, right? Test. Now I want to go inside this test, say d test, and I will create one file, say touch, say 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. I have created 3 files. Touch 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Now if I type ls command, can you see? I have created 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. I have created the files. I will come back with help of cd space dot ls command. We have a test available inside that. We have 1, 2, 3. Right. Now we have a Docker container, right? Say suppose I want to come outside, so we can use the exit command to come outside. Exit. Now again I have logged into my Ubuntu server or Ubuntu container, right? Fine. Any questions so far?
No, Dinesh.
Yes, I just want to understand. Alagarasan sir, did he given an idea about the port forwarding? Can you confirm? Port forwarding. is given any idea regarding this port forwarding? Yes, I'm asking. Tell me, or otherwise I will take. That's the reason I'm asking.
Dinesh, actually, no idea because he was explaining, but I don't know. For me, I couldn't understand even a single
Okay.
phase, like how it was going.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Okay. No problem. Okay. Okay. So, okay, I will give an idea about the port forwarding. So far, are you clear, guys? So far, any
yeah,
question?
so far it's very clear.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Fine. So, guys, there is a concept called port forwarding. It is very, very important. See, we know how to create the image. On top of the image, you know how to create the container, and you know the basic stuff and all. And you know how to create the files also inside the container. How to create the files. Simply what you can do, you can log in inside the container and you can create a folder and you can write the file. Anything, you can do it. That's fine. Now, suppose I will run one more, or I will create one more container, guys. I'll create one more container, or maybe say, suppose I need one image. Which image? Nginx, you know, Nginx is one of the web server. Nginx is one of the web server available. Here we can host your applications and all. So we have a Nginx, right? Let me copy this. This is also one image that I want to download to my server. So how can I download? So you can use the Docker pull command, Nginx, you can use it. So thereby, you can see the latest Nginx image will be getting downloaded from the Docker hub to the your Ubuntu server. If you type Docker images, and you can see the Nginx is the image without a kernel we got, which is 143 MB file. Fine. Now let me clear this. Okay. Now Docker image space ls, where we have a Docker Nginx image, right? That you got it. Now what I'm going to do, I am going to create one container on top of this Nginx image. So how to create the container? How to create and run the container on top of this image, you know. But outside the world, right? The client or user outside the world, the user wants to what? They don't know, right? How to create the container, how to create the image. They are not bothered about. Only they bother about the application, right? Suppose on top of this Docker container, whatever the container I'm going to create it, on top of this Nginx image, the user should see, right? The end user should see through the application, right? They have to see. So for that reason, there is a concept called port forwarding. What is port forwarding? Guys, listen here. If you go here and let me go to my instance, and this is my Ubuntu machine. Let me copy this public IP address and paste it. Colon 80. I think 80 port I have to allow. I will go to the security group. Click on the security group. Edit the inbound rule. Add a rule. I will add 80, right? Say custom TCP, no problem. Let me add 80. And this is anywhere from the internet. They have to access. Click on the save. I'm allowing the traffic. Now, okay. So let me go to the EC2. My instance is running. This one. Copy this. Colon 80. EAT we have allowed. It should. Okay, no problem. see. No problem. Let's see. Wait. So what I will do, I will go to the terminal now. Now I'm going to create the container on top of this image. For that, let me write a Docker command. Docker container, making the mistake, container space run space -it space -- name. Say I'm giving a name called web server or web server or web short. I can give it web space, and I'm going to do the port forwarding, guys. So on my Ubuntu server, right, I have opened the 80 traffic, right? I have opened the 80 traffic. So this is related to your host machine, host Ubuntu machine that I'm using. That I'm going to forward it to my Nginx server, my Nginx Docker container. So which is also maybe I'm going to tell 80 is the port name. You can give the Docker image name, say Nginx. Nginx is the Docker image name. So this is where we are forwarding our port from my host machine to Nginx container. So let me check whether it's working or not. Yes. Now I will see here. Yes. Can you see here? I can see the Nginx right now. If you see this image, the Nginx web server is successfully installed and working. Guys, it means that I am forwarding the port from the Ubuntu machine to Nginx. So 80 port I am opening for HTTP. So this will be forwarded from your Ubuntu server to your Nginx image. Guys, you are the technical person. You know how Docker container, how Docker image that you can able to understand. But as a end user, as a customer, they have to access the application, right? Whatever the, say for an example, one developer is coming. What developer is saying, hey, I have written the code. Please deploy this code into the container, is asking. You how to deploy that particular code into the container. For that, you have to use this command. Docker container run space -it -name. You have to deploy, right? So to deploy this container, sorry, that image, right? So say I have created web is the container name. In this container name, I'm going to deploy this Nginx image. Thereby, I can able to see the application. So this is the default code which has been written on Nginx. Maybe we will write the code. That code also we will try to deploy. Thereby you will understand. So let me remove this Docker space rm space -f. A running container, if you want to remove, you have to use the -f. Press enter. So your container got removed. So if you check Docker ps, you will not, only one container is running. Docker ps. 1 minute, please. All okay, yes. If you check Docker container ls and Docker images, we have Nginx image and we have Ubuntu server, and one container is running, which is the name called C1. So Nginx container is not running. Earlier it was running, right? But now it is not running. Now suppose I have a Ubuntu, right? I have a Ubuntu container is available. Ubuntu image is available. I want to create one container on top of this Ubuntu, right? Can I create it? Yes. So let me write Docker container space run space -it space -name, and I can give some names. Say for an example, web is the name. I'm going to do the port forwarding -p 80:80 space -d. What is the image name? Ubuntu is the image name. Now when you press enter, Docker container is running. So to check this one, let me refresh this. Clear this. Clear this. Docker container ls Docker container ls. So how many containers is running? So there are two containers running. One is this container and this one. So let me remove this also. rm space -f. Let's see one, and it got removed. Now if we check Docker ps space -a, I have only one container is running now. Okay. I also done the port forwarding here. Can you see here? I also done the port forwarding here. Suppose a developer is giving some code. Now you want to deploy that particular code on top of this container, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write some code. Developer is giving some code. Say echo, say I've created one file. Say this is some code to develop an app. Like that, I have written some message here, and let me this one, and then I will save this line inside one file. Save the file name is, I can give any file name. Say for an example, the file name is test1 or test.html file. I'm writing this particular code inside the HTML file. Inside the HTML file. Or otherwise, let me create the directory and then I can write it. So let me remove this. Type ls command /home/ubuntu. Okay, fine. So you already Docker a container ls. If you see, one container is already running. Can you tell me, guys, how to go inside this particular container? How to go inside this container?
exec command.
Exactly. Docker exec, then hyphen interactive terminal, and the container name. Container name is web space bash outing. Yep. Good. Now, if we type ls command, I don't see any I can see all the files here, right? All the folders here, directories here. So let me create one directory. Say I want to create a directory, say mkdir, any name you can say Docker, like that I can give one directory. So if I type Docker, directory will be created, right? Docker is available now. Now suppose I will go inside this Docker and then I will write some line, say echo, right? Echo, say this is h1, h1. I can write anything, say simple code like that. Okay, so I will close this and then I can save this file inside the test.html, a file I'm going to create. Done. So if I type ls command, we have a test.html got created. Now what I need to do, I have to deploy this code to my server, right? Whatever the file that I have created, right? I want to deploy this particular code into my server. So how can I deploy this code into server? So for that, we need a server, right? I want to deploy this code to some Apache server. Consider I need an Apache server. This code, whatever that I have written, I want to deploy that particular code into server. So what I will do now, I will install the Apache server, guys. How to install the Apache server? apt install apt install the server name. Say Apache 2. I want to use it. Apache 2. Press enter. Unable to locate the package called Apache 2. apt install Apache 2. So let me update the package first. apt update. Let me update the package and then we'll try to install. So let me clear this and apt space install space Apache 2 space -1. Yes. Now it will start installing your Apache server. Why I'm installing the Apache server? Because I want to deploy some code. I want to deploy that code into my Apache server. So let me clear this. And Apache server got installed. So I will check this one. Okay. So let me start the service. So service space Apache 2 Apache 2. I want to see the status first. So status is not running. So I need to start this Apache server. So simply write a start command that will start the Apache. Now if you check the status, it is running now. And if you check this URL, now can you see here? This is the default Ubuntu image are available on your Apache server. So this Apache server, right? On top of that, you have installed the Ubuntu image. How you are seeing this particular image? Can you see here? This one. /war/w, whatever the code that you are writing inside the HTML, you will see it. So if you want to see that one, I can show you. Let me copy this. I can write it. So use the command called remove this and write a cd command, cd/war/w. Now if you type ls command, can you see here? We have index.html file. Right? If you want to see that index.html file, I can show you. Say cat index.html. Can you see here? The developer, they have written the code. This particular code only, you can find it as a page. Right? This page, it is coming because the developer, they have written this particular code. Default code, they have written. So let me clear this. But you have written some code, right? Where is your code? So let me go to the default location. Now if we type ls, what happened? So root address, okay.
Inside the Docker directory,
Okay.
the test.html is there.
Yeah, I have a Docker, right? 1 minute. Yes. Okay. Now if I type ls command, we have a Docker folder. cd docker ls. I have written test.html file. This file I want to deploy. So what I need to do is, can you tell me what I need to do? I have to copy this test.html file, and this test.html file, I have to keep it in which directory? Inside this /war/w/html. Am I correct or not? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I will copy this. 1 minute, guys.
Sir, but that folder is in a host machine, not in a
Yes.
container.
Which folder?
/var www.html.
That is available inside the container, right?
Oh, okay, okay.
So better, okay, guys, 1 minute, guys. Let me exit here, from exit here. So I will go to the this machine, so which is directly on Ubuntu machine. So here I'm creating the container. I'm creating one Docker actually. Wait, guys, Docker. And if I check ls, we have a Docker, right? I can go cd Docker, and I can write echo, say this one h1, and hello. What you like that? I'm writing something here, and /h1, and then I can write test.html, test1.html like that. Okay, I have this particular file. Now this particular file I want to copy. So how to copy? So you can use the Docker cp command, Docker cp command. From where you need to copy? /home/ name is Ubuntu /Docker. From here, there is a file called, the file name is test1.html file. This file I have to copy from here to your Ubuntu machine, Ubuntu container, right? Ubuntu container name is web. Put one colon, and you can write /var/www/html, right? So I'm going to copy this a particular file from the /home/ubuntu/docker, the test1.html file. I'm going to keep it inside this var www.html inside your web container. Now let me press enter. Okay, now once again I will log in. Where is that exe command? Yes, I have login. Now let me check it. Okay, 1 minute. So I can put colon 80, the /, or you can put the /. What's the file name? test1.html, right? Yes. Can you see here? Hello world. So this is how you can able to deploy your code onto your Docker container. Are you clear, guys?
Sir, every time we need to copy whenever there is a changes in HTML file.
Exactly, yes. Whenever if you are doing any changes on your local machine, of course when you use the Docker cp command, that will be reflected. But automatically also we can able to do with the help of your cron jobs. See, as in the real time, most of the time the command will not interrupt. Why the command will not interrupt? All the command will be written inside the Jenkins YAML file, or maybe some configuration file you will write it, right? So whenever you do some changes, what will happen on your code? Automatically you will get some instruction to your Jenkins. In Jenkins, you already written the Docker command. What will happen? The Docker cp command, you are not going to run manually. Who will run the manual automatically? Jenkins will take care, or maybe any configuration system that will take care, right?
Okay, sir, got it.
Because this command every day you will use it whenever if it is required. But most of the time this command will be already written inside the files itself. So every time we will not write the command, right? So that also you have to keep it in your mind for CI/CD. Fine. So any question, guys, so far? Are you clear, or do you want me to repeat anything?
No, Dinesh, it's clear. But whenever developer do some changes, he used to do the changes in that particular repo, and he used to push that code to GitHub.
We are not responsible to push the code to GitHub. The developer has to push the code to
Yeah,
GitHub.
he will push the code to GitHub. From there,
Already we have created the CI/CD, right?
Yeah.
So that pipeline will be happening automatically. We are not going to interfere, right? In between. The Docker command and all already written inside the particular file.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Others, Jaya, Kritika, Saranraj. Do you want me to repeat anything, guys, or are you clear so far? Any confusion? Guys, quickly confirm, guys.
A little confusion.
Where you got confused, Jaya? Tell me.
But it's okay, Dinesh. I will just, when I repeat again, see the recordings, maybe it will be clear.
Okay, remember, we have created one image called Nginx image. On top of the Nginx image, we have created the container. On that container, we have done the port forwarding also. But if you want to deploy some code onto the container, the code is available on your Ubuntu machine that you have copied from Ubuntu machine to the Ubuntu server. But where you will deploy, you need a server. For that, you downloaded the Apache 2 server to your Ubuntu container. This is what I have done, but you can watch the recording. That way you will get the clear picture.
Okay.
Okay.
So I will tell you once again, remember what you guys can do. Just launch one Ubuntu machine, Ubuntu server from your AWS cloud. From your AWS cloud. Step number 1. Step number 1, you can launch your Ubuntu server from AWS cloud. As a second step, allow your security group also. Allow security group, which should be 80. 80 you have to allow. This is the second step. The third step, connect your EC2 machine, connect your Ubuntu server with the help of SSH. With the help of SSH. Once it is done, you just log in as a sudo user with the help of sudo space su command, right? You can log in as a sudo user, and then you can create the image. How can I create the image? How to pull the image? With the help of a docker pull command. Pull docker Ubuntu image. Ubuntu image, you can pull it. This Ubuntu is an image. This Ubuntu is a server, remember. But to create the container and create and run the container with the help of docker run command, create and run docker a container, you should complete the port forwarding also, remember. Right? Once it is completed, you have to create one directory. Make a directory and create simple HTML file. Create simple HTML file. Once you have created, right, you will log into Ubuntu server. Ubuntu server, not a Ubuntu server, Ubuntu container. Log into Ubuntu container. Docker exec command, you have to use it. Once you log into Ubuntu container, so what is the next step you have to do? You have to download. First of all, update your Ubuntu container. Update the Ubuntu container. Then you can install Apache server. Why am I installing the Apache server? Because I need to deploy some code. I already have a code which has been written here, right? So install Apache server. Install Apache server. Once you install, just exit from the Ubuntu container. Now you will be in the Ubuntu server. Here you have to copy. Use the docker copy command. Copy the file. Copy the HTML file. From Ubuntu server to Ubuntu container. Very simple. Once it is completed, check the public IP slash that HTML file name. Say suppose test.html file. Definitely you can see the code you have deployed, right? That you can see it on the application. Are you clear, guys?
Okay.
And don't forget, here also you have to log into Ubuntu content. Otherwise, you will not see. Fine. Am I clear?
Yes, Dinesh.
Just to follow the steps.
Yeah, Dinesh.
Okay. See, suppose say for an example, we have a guys. Do you want me to continue or to stop? Is that okay? Can we continue? Guys, can we continue? Why
Yeah,
guys?
Dinesh. I have it. For me, I don't have any issue.
Okay, fine. So let's continue, guys. 10 or 15 minutes. Listen. Suppose you got a code from the developer. You got a code from the developer. As a DevOps engineer, you have created the Docker container, right? You created the Docker container. On Docker container, you have installed some changes also, right? You have installed the Apache server. And now you want to create one custom image. And you have to share it to others. How? What I'm saying, see, I got the code from the developer. I have a HTML code. You already know we have a test.html file is available. Now what you did, you downloaded some base image, right? What is the base image name? Ubuntu is the base image. You downloaded from the dockerhub.com. Dockerhub.com. From the dockerhub.com, you got the Ubuntu image. On top of this Ubuntu image, you have created one container, right? You have created one container. That is called a web container you have created. On top of this container, you have installed one Apache server also. Apache server also. And you have deployed the code, which is called test.html. Code also you have downloaded. See guys, this is the base image. On top of this base image, you have created the Apache server and test.html file also you have deployed. Now, what I'm doing, say for an example, one tester is available. They want to test this particular application. You can share this base image. You ask him to prepare the container. You ask the tester to install the Apache server. You ask the tester to install the test.html. But say for an example, manual tester is the non-technical person. He don't know how to create the container, how to create the Apache, how to. This is very difficult, right? Maybe from you already have one setup, right? You already have one running container. From the running container, I want to create one custom image. Using the base image, you have created the container or you did a multiple kind of operation over there. Now, you have some setup, right? You have some infrastructure now. Now, how to create that infrastructure as an image? How to create that running container as an image? And I can share it to others, right? How to do that one? Or suppose you are going to host this custom image to your Docker hub. There may other tester or other developer or other company, they want to use that one. How to share this custom image? Then it means that you have some setup, you have a running container. How can you make the Docker image, custom image? There are two ways in which you can prepare the Docker custom image. One is using the Docker commit and another one is using the Docker file. There are two ways in which you can prepare the Docker custom image. One is using the Docker commit and another one is using the Docker file. Guys, are you clear first of all?
Yeah, clear, Dinesh.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if you open my terminal, if I type Docker, what happened? See, if I write docker ps command, can you see one container is running, which is the web container is running. On top of this web container, what you did you remember? You deployed some code, right? You deployed some code with help of Apache server. Apache 2 server you have used. Now, I need to create one image with help of this particular container. Right? Can we check now? Docker image, Docker images. Can we see here? We have a Ubuntu image, which is 77.8 MB file. But on top of this Ubuntu, what you have done? You have created one container and you installed the Apache server and you have done the code deployment also. Now let me write docker commit space the container name. The container name is web is the container name. And I want to create the image, right? You can give any name, say for an example, web image. A web image. So I'm going to create a custom image with the help of docker commit command. Now press enter. Can you see here? One image ID got created. Now if we check docker images. Now can you see here one image got created, web image, and 8 seconds ago. Earlier, Ubuntu image, which is 77.8 MB file. But on top of this image, I have done some modification. I have created the container. I have installed the Apache server, and also I have written some code deployment. So that's the reason web image has 226 MB. Are you clear? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Now you know, right, how to create the image also, custom image. Suppose if you have a base image, whatever the modification that you want as a developer, you can do it as a DevOps engineer. Now, if you want to share this container to other, how can I share it? How can I share the container? With the help of a custom image. What you can do? That container you can convert as a image with the help of docker commit command. Suppose if you don't want this Ubuntu image, you can delete it, right? Docker rm space -f. Say web, if you write it, that will be removed. That will be removed. Suppose if you want to host this web image, can I host this web image to your running container? Can I create one running container now? How can I create the running container? Docker a container space interactive terminal space name. Say the name is web server like this space -p. The port forwarding 80:80:80 space -d. The Docker image name. Any name you can, the Docker image name is web img. Earlier I was web img. Now press enter. What happened? Docker container space -it space name. Unknown shortlist flag -i. Okay. Docker.
Docker container run
Oh,
run
okay.
command.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. System is starting. Yep. Okay. So your container got created. Now let me check it now. So I will log into that particular server. Okay, Docker exec space -it. The name is web server I have given. Space.
Docker spelling.
1 minute. Docker. Press enter. Now I have logged in. Now let me check directly this particular Okay, 1 minute, let me Docker exit.
So we have created a new container, so we have to do port mapping for this also, correct?
I already done, right? That one also. I have done, right?
Okay.
Already I've created the web server, so it is completed, right? Yes, please open it. Okay, one image on top of that web image. Web server is port mapping also done. Docker exec space -it, and I have to use the web server space the bash. I have logged in also. So let me. Okay. So service should be started, right? I'm sorry, guys. Service Apache 2 should be check status whether it is running. No, it is not running. That's the reason. So I have to start the service. Let me check it now. And it works well, right? It works well. So if I check test1.html, hello world. Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? How to create the custom image and how to run that custom image and all.
So now the total container running is 2.
Total container is
running
running
container.
from the web image, from the custom image.
Okay, not from the previous container.
No,
Previous
no,
container
I
is
have
not
deleted, right? I have removed that container.
running. Okay. If
See. Yeah, tell me.
if both container is running in the port 80, then it will not show like.
No, both the port, we cannot use it the same mapping, right? Maybe you can change the port number in that case.
Okay, sir.
Because at a time, only one port should be open, 80 port. Via that only we are running our Docker web server. Okay. Guys, are you clear so far?
Yes, Dinesh.
Yeah.
Fine then. So today, just I taught you how to work with your image, how to create the container, and how to install some software inside the container, and how to deploy the code changes to the container. And along with that, if you want to create one custom image from the container that you have created, you can able to create it, and you can do the forwarding on that also. Fine. So definitely you will understand, guys, when you watch the recording. If you are not understanding, no problem. So tomorrow also we can continue with the same only. So before that, please practice everything. Fine.
Okay.
Okay, Dinesh.
Tomorrow also same time, yes.
Tell me more, Kritika. I'm not getting what you're saying.
Tomorrow also same time, you know, 2 o'clock.
Yeah. Tomorrow also 2 p.m. Please be available. 2 p.m.
Okay, then.
Then thank you then. Bye, guys.